3 shocking facts about London life amid WWII's air raids. Before we start, I would want you to hit that red subscribe button so that you never miss out on any of our videos. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to Beyond Crazy. 3. The Tale of the London Palladium. The London Palladium is one of the most famous theaters in one of the most famous theater districts in all of the world. But it has only survived until today because of a couple incredible acts that took place during the war. Late in the first Blitz offensive in May 1941, the Luftwaffe went into overdrive in the district around the Palladium. On the night of May 10, 11, the Germans dropped more than 700 bombs on London, spanning more than 500 bombing runs in less than 12 hours. Those bombs wreaked havoc and killed civilians all over the city, and the Palladium was just as affected as anywhere. After a bomb struck a direct hit on the theater, the Royal Navy sent a sub-lieutenant named Graham Maurice Wright to defuse it and get it out of there. Along with an able seaman named William Bevan, Wright found the bomb lodged high up in the theater's rafters. The only way for the pair to get up that high was to climb the battered side wall of the theater, tie themselves to the rafters, and get to work while hanging dangerously far above the ground. With blackout restrictions in effect, they had no light to work with either. So Bevan grabbed a flashlight and dangled it from his hanging perch while Wright frantically went to work. Like something out of a Mission Impossible movie, the bomb was ticking down to a detonation time. So Wright put a spoofer on the detonation clock to delay the countdown. For a while it worked, and then it didn't, and the two men found the bomb counting down to disaster. Alarmed at the timing, Wright and Bevan wriggled out of their ropes and got down from the rafters. They ran out of the theater, preparing to lose it completely to the bomb. And then they realized something. The bomb had not exploded. 2. Catching the air raid killer. Remember how we talked about the rise in crime during the Blitz? Sadly, it wasn't all just petty theft and grand larceny. The brutal blackout restrictions aimed at making air raids difficult for German fighter pilots also made London life much more dangerous. Violent budding criminals and sadistic veteran ex-cons alike used the lights-out nights to wreak havoc on unsuspecting citizens. With police officers spread thin and most able-bodied men serving elsewhere on military duty, law enforcement was stretched to its limits. In one awful case, a brutal killer got away with unspeakable horrors because of it. While many people were murdered by neighbors and other London attackers during the Blitz, the most famed killer among them was a man named Gordon Cummins. On February 8, 1942, the body of a 41-year-old woman named Evelyn Hamilton was found. The pharmacist's corpse had been discovered at an air raid shelter. At first, cops assumed it was a robbery gone horribly wrong, but then, over an awful 6-day period, other dead women started popping up all over London. Evelyn Oatley was brutally tortured and murdered. Margaret Florence Lowe met the same fate. Days after that, Doris Joannet was beaten and stabbed to death. Then, 2 pieces of relatively good fortune for police came in the next week. Victims Mary Haywood and Catherine Mulcahy escaped their attackers. Interrogating them led to valuable clues. Quickly, cops learned they were dealing with one depraved serial killer. His method of killing and habit of tracking his victims reminded many older Londoners of Jack the Ripper. And now, the task was obvious: catch him before he could kill again. As cops worked backward, searching for more clues, they came upon an interesting one. At a prior murder, the killer had left behind an air raid respirator. 1. Wait, who was born during the Blitz? As the Blitz raged on around and above Londoners, daily life had to go on. Remember those Chislehurst caves we mentioned a few facts ago? During the war, a little girl named Rose Kavanagh was born deep inside those caves. The shelter became a maternity ward when her parents were stuck underground and her mom came to term. But that birth has nothing on the person who, perhaps, became the most famous Blitz baby of all time. As the Nazis were expanding their empire across Germany, Poland, and other parts of Northern Europe, Jews from all over the region were fleeing persecution. 2 of those Jewish adherents worried about the future were a young couple who went by Margot and Richard. They were from Poland and loved life in their homeland. However, the Nazi Party rose to power quickly and fiercely, and by the mid-1930s, it was clear to Margot and Richard that they had to leave. So they emigrated to London, where they made a new home among many other Jewish immigrants. While they were living there, family members back home in Poland were brutally killed in concentration camps. But while Margot and Richard luckily didn't face death in the camps, they still had it rough in London. They were there when the Blitz was on, and like thousands of other Londoners, they were nearly killed in air raids. In 1944, Margot was pregnant with a child. On February 13th of that year, a particularly relentless raid ran overhead. Margot and Richard rushed down into the Highgate Underground station to wait out the raid, and then the woman's water broke. Right there in the underground station, she gave birth to a baby boy. But beyond the uncommon underground birth, what's newsworthy about that? Well, 5 years later, after the war ended, Margot and Richard immigrated again. This brings us to the end of our video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hit like if you did, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel so that you don't miss any of our videos in the future. Also, watch the 2 videos that are on your screen because I'm sure you'll love them. With that, I'll see you in the next video.